Liverpool started off the 2025-26 season in incredible form, winning 6 out of their first 7 matches. But ever since they lost their first game of the season, they have been absolutely horrible, losing 4 matches in a row. But how have Liverpool gone from clear title contenders to being in relegation form? Last season, as you know, was a surprising success for Liverpool, with them transitioning fast from Klopp to Arne Slot, winning the Premier League in Slot's first season. However, the summer left big holes in the team which needed replacement. Trent Alexander-Arnold left Liverpool on the free to join Real Madrid. Luis Diaz left to go join Bayern for 75 million euros. Darwin Nunez went to join Saudi League side Al Hilal for 53 million euros. Harvey Elliott joined Aston Villa on loan, and backup left back Tsimikas got sent to Roma on loan. On July the 3rd, Liverpool and the entire footballing world really got hit with the tragic passing of Diogo Jota and his brother Andre in a fatal car accident, something that really shook everyone. Liverpool would retire the number 20 in honor of Jota. With his tragic passing, Liverpool had to try and regroup, as hard as it would be. On June 1st, Liverpool immediately looked to replace Trent, getting Frimpong for 35 million euros. They would beat competition from Bayern for Florian Wirtz, securing the signature of the 22-year-old for around 130 million euros. Kerkez, someone who was destined to join Liverpool, came in from Bournemouth for 46 million euros and was very much seen as the hire to Robertson. Georgian goalkeeper Mamardashvili joined after already agreeing a deal a year prior. Young Italian prospect Leone joined later on in the transfer market from Parma, also for 34 million euros. On July the 21st, Liverpool agreed to sign Frankfurt striker Hugo Ekitike for almost 100 million euros. And finally, on deadline day, after constant battling between Isak and Newcastle, with him being determined to leave, Isak signed for a whopping 144 million euros. Liverpool seem to have replaced their gone players well, some even being seen as upgrades to the departures. They started off the season in the Community Shield against Crystal Palace, with the new signings Ekitike and Frimpong scoring on their official debuts. However, they would end up losing that match on penalties. Their first Prem game was against Bournemouth at Anfield, and after new signing Ekitike scored again for Liverpool in the 37th and Cody Gakpo made it the second in the 49th, it seemed like it would be an easy first game win for Liverpool. However, Semenyo had different plans, scoring a brace in 12 minutes to tie everything up heading into the last 10 minutes of regular time. Despite this, Liverpool would get away with it, with seemingly forgotten player Federico Chiesa scoring the winner and Salah closing the game in the 94th minute. This shaky game didn't raise enough concern at the time, as it exposed a big problem for Liverpool, which is their defense. They would continue to win another 6 games in a row, looking like they were going to walk away with the league once again. But even though they secured results, a few problems were being exposed, specifically when it comes to the new signings. Frimpong, who has struggled quite a bit with injuries and form so far this season, seems to not be preferred in that right back spot ahead of Bradley, who himself has looked quite mediocre in attack and in defense. Isak also hasn't looked impressive, who to be fair to him missed out on preseason and the beginning of the season due to the entire Newcastle saga. Kerkez, who was supposed to come in and replace Robertson's place in the starting 11 with ease, has looked far from the player he was at Bournemouth, with Slot using him more as a third center back in transition than the attacking left back he really is. Leone, who looked incredible in the EFL Cup against Southampton, picked up an ACL injury in the same game after 81 minutes, leaving out of the pitch for the entire season. And finally, best for last, Florian Wirtz. The expectations for the young German were high. He had put up incredible numbers at his time at Bayer Leverkusen, and if that wasn't enough to tell you how big his hype was, beating Bayern Munich to his signature surely will. However, he has looked far from his usual self at Liverpool, with him struggling to find his feet, scoring 0 goals and 0 assists in his first 10 matches. The only new signing who has immediately looked good so far has been Ekitike, with the 23-year-old getting 5 goals in 11 games. But here we run into another problem. Ekitike, despite having impact as soon as he signed for the Reds, has started to get benched by the other new signing at the striker position, Isak, making this one of the only times I've seen a top club benching their new almost 100 million euro signing, who mind you is producing goals. And obviously at face value they have to start Isak, right? I mean, they paid way too much money for him, but at the same time benching Ekitike for him is a spit in the face for the Frenchman. I mean, you bring a striker in to score, he does so, then gets benched for a new striker who has looked horrible so far. It doesn't make any sense. Speaking of attackers who have looked far from great so far, let's talk about Mo Salah. Now, Mo Salah is a player who I historically have rated because he produced goals. Even if he would at times play an ugly brand of football, at the end of the day that didn't matter because he was scoring, something that he has been doing for years at Liverpool. But this season that doesn't seem to be the case. He has only 3 goals and 3 assists so far, which for a player who is playing 90 minutes in almost every game and is on penalties is very poor. Now, me personally, I don't think this is burnout. I mean, a player doesn't decline this fast due to age, considering last season was one of his best seasons yet. But I think the change in system, with Liverpool trying to accommodate Florian Wirtz and losing Trent on the free, definitely has affected the Egyptian. Now on to another point, their defense. Liverpool are the 6th worst team in the league when it comes to expected goals conceded, being up there compared with teams like Burnley, Nottingham Forest, and West Ham. Now compare this to being the second best when it comes to this metric last season in the Prem, you can really see that something is going wrong. Not to mention the fact that Alisson is currently out injured, and no matter how good of a goalkeeper Mamardashvili is, Alisson is in a league of his own. And all of these factors lead to where we are today, with Liverpool losing the derby against Manchester United at Old Trafford, with this loss being their 4th on the trot. And now, after being 1st in the league, have fallen down to 4th, 4 points off top spot Arsenal. Now the pressure is on Arne Slot, who needs to find a solution to Liverpool's problems. There is no excuse for him, considering they spent €500 million in the transfer window. He needs to try to get the best out of Wirtz and Kirkez, solve the Ekitike Isak issue, potentially find a solution for Frimpong, and fix the defense. Also, just start Keza for crying out loud. The 27-year-old has got 2 goals and 3 assists in 7 matches, with 6 of them being off the bench. And every time he is subbed on, he seems to make a difference, looking like the old Keza again. Anyways, what do y'all think? Will Slot be able to find solutions for this Liverpool side, or will they keep losing until there's no coming back? Make sure to drop what you think in the comments down below, and I'll catch you in the next one.